Welcome back to the Crypto is Key conversation. In today's video, we're going to take a look at some updates in the Ripple versus SC case. We're going to be utilizing Johnny Deaton in Crypto Law US. He put up this AMA on his YouTube channel that was highly relevant and important in regards of kind of discussing what was taking place in the Ripple versus SC conference that took place today with the judge. We're also going to end with Jeremy Hogan's kind of update, talking about he's going to put a video out later talking about how worse it is and how worse it sounded that the SEC took some big step backwards on the key issues within the case. But I'm going to go over about like 5 different segments within this video that I found highly relevant. I feel like I want to put out there and just kind of have a conversation on. So coming over here, we're quickly going to look at CoinGecko here. We're currently sitting at a $1.3 trillion market cap, currently up 1.2% for the day. Coming down here, you can see Bitcoin sitting at 30,963, Ethereum sitting at $1,800, XRP sitting at 40 cents. So we're sitting at 4.2% up in XRP in the 24-hour period. And then we have a 3.1 for Bitcoin and then a 2.7 increase for Ethereum. Coming over here to the top gainer, we have Chainlink sitting at 15.3%. As you can see, there's some slight green here as well. Arweave sitting at 10.6. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we're still in the extreme fear range where we've been living in for the past few months. Currently sitting at a 17, which is 7 points higher than 10 where we were at not too long ago. But you can still see there's a lot of market turmoil and just a lot of negative narratives and uncertain sentiment that's taking place within not only our markets but all markets. So clearly that's something that we've been dealing with over these handful of months. Going to the topics of discussion, we're just going to go through these different segments and kind of highlight what I found the most interesting in regards to what Johnny Deaton says in this AMA. But I highly recommend you go to Crypto Law US and really review his 34-minute video, because I think it was super informative. And definitely be sure to check out Jeremy Hogan at Legal Briefs. He's going to put out a video later, he says. But we're just going to take a listen in to a few of these segments and just kind of have a conversation down in the comments based on what he says. Let's take a listen in.
First things, I thought I was going to be talking about a couple things tonight. I thought I'd be talking about the hearing today, and I thought I'd be talking about the SEC's opposition to our amicus brief that we want to file related to Patrick Doody. But as of just a few seconds ago, the SEC has not filed that opposition. They have until midnight. Also, 1 week from tonight, Crypto Law TV is doing a special. It is the 4th year anniversary of the June 14th, 2018 speech by Bill Hinman. And it's not just going to be me. We're going to have a few guests. Eleanor Terrett's going to show up. Jeremy Hogan's going to show up. And we're going to have a couple other guests to be announced later. Also, J.W. Verrett's going to show up. We're going to talk policy. We're going to talk Cynthia Loomis spill, all those things. So tune in for that. Right now, let's talk about the hearing. The hearing, I showed up live because we just hit 67,775 XRP holders from the United States and around the world. And that deserves recognition. 67,775 people. So I just wanted to show up to let that presence be known. Let the SEC see us there. Ripple lawyers see us there. The court see us there. And so that's the reason I went. Now,
and just a quick shout out to Johnny Deaton, really, taking a selfless approach, trying to do the right thing, he saw there was a need out there and stepped up for the community and brought together this decentralized community, XRP community, together to fight the good fight. So we want to thank you for all the hard work and tireless work that you put in. Quite honestly, without the need for recognition, you're just trying to do the right thing. So I just want to say shout out to Johnny Deaton and all parties involved that are truly fighting the good fight and really kind of leading this XRP community, this XRP army to the finish line.
A couple observations about today's hearing. First thing I want to tell you is that it became apparent to me right away why we were having a hearing. And at first I questioned it. I said, why is she doing this, right? She's dealt with this issue for over a year, and then it hit me. And it hit me as soon as she started putting comments on the record. We had a hearing today so that she could use statements by the SEC's attorney in today's hearing in her written opinion. I have no doubt about it. Mark my word, it will show up in her written opinion. A couple of those comments, okay? Help me understand what advice Hinman received. What was he seeking advice for? Do you stand by the position last year that the speech was his personal opinion? which never got answered, by the way. The SEC has distanced itself from that speech as his personal opinion. She said that 3 times, maybe 2, could be 3 times. The SEC has said his opinion can't be imputed on the SEC. She slapped the SEC attorney down saying, "Did you just say in his capacity as director?" And then brought out the fact, isn't that inconsistent? And so she was getting statements because she was asking very poignant questions. What advice was he seeking? The other
So clearly, you could see how the judge is kind of taking this approach. I don't have a law background. I've literally just kind of listened to what Jeremy Hogan, Johnny Deaton, just listening to the attorneys and lawyers within the community, see what they have to say. But the more and more I listen to what Johnny D's talk about, it makes sense why he says that we're blessed to have the judges that we have presiding over this case, because just their approach, just their sound approach of kind of trying to weed out different things. Yeah, they're accepting all these different delays. He was saying that it happens, delays happens in litigation, especially in something of this magnitude. So the fact that these judges are taking this approach and are truly sound, trying to get things on record, so when things do hit the fan and they're kind of we'll say the SEC, for instance, is backed into the corner, they won't be able to pull from anywhere else because everything's going to be out there in the open. So that's kind of where he's kind of hitting at. He kind of talks more about that. We're going to go into the next segment here. I think it's at like 11. We'll just start at 11. All right, let's take a listen in.
All right. The question is, how much BS can the judge take? Listen, Judge Netburn proved to me today 2 things. She proved to me what I've always said. She's a very smart judge. And she proved to me that if her temperament is what's required, then I shouldn't be a judge, because I don't have that kind of patience. When the SEC attorney again at the end said, "Judge, can I be heard again?" At a minimum, I would have said, as long as you don't say one thing more repetitive, right? I would have at least been more forceful in those things. But Judge Netburn is super professional, super accommodating to attorneys. And maybe that's the way a judge should be. But I agree. I lack the patience and maybe the temperament, because I would have been a little more forceful. The other thing is, this securities litigation is something different than what I'm used to, right? Even the way Matthew Solomon, he's so professional and colloquial, and where he says, "Judge, we don't relish in pointing out these inconsistencies." I got to admit, I kind of would relish pointing out those inconsistencies. I'd be like, "Judge, tomorrow there'll be another argument. If we argue something else, they'll go back to their first decision that it's his personal opinion." And but anyways, let's go to the next one. I don't want to go on.
I just love the humility, and that's just real. Like, think about it. Think about, like, for me in particular, when I have arguments with my wife, right? It's like when she just says the same thing, I'm just like, do not repeat yourself. Like, you're saying the same thing. We're not going anywhere with this. And I'm sure she says the same thing to me, and she thinks the same way. But it's like, I agree. Like, all it does is paint a picture of like how sound this judge is. And I can see why he views her and views the judges the way he does, because he's like, I would not be able to do that. But she's taken that sound, patient and not forceful approach to try to gather as much, facts and information, and try to weed out certain things, and almost try to make this litigation, sealed, puncture proof. Which makes total sense, but I think it's hilarious kind of how he talks about it all. Because quite honestly, if it were me, I mean, you can just see how animated the community gets whenever we see certain things that come out of this litigation. There's so much anger and frustration, but it's like the judge has to kind of be a judge, try to be sound and professional. So I definitely see what he's saying in that regard, and I love just his humility behind it. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. I'm going to be skipping a lot, but these are just some of the highlights that I wanted to put up in this video. So I highly encourage you to go just listen to this entire thing. Just to hear Johnny Deaton talk is just amazing. All right, we're going to move on here.
Like what happened today. Why would Ripple settle? They've come this far. They would settle because I've said, and I know a lot of you disagree with me, and that's okay, but I believe that you can never underestimate the impact that the United States is, as far as being able to have liquidity and certainty and move on. And I think that if Ripple could agree to, okay, in 2013, when we gave someone an options contract on some XRP as an investor, we'll agree that that was a security. And, here's 20 million XRP. Let's get a decision that today and ongoing and future sales of XRP are not a security, and they get that certainty and there's no appeal thereafter. Understand, even if there's a ruling in Ripple's favor, the SEC can say, well, the judge shouldn't have turned over the Hinman emails. The judge shouldn't have done this. The judge shouldn't have let Deaton and the Emiki in the case. We need to overturn the ruling and appeal it to the higher court. And so Ripple would settle just for complete certainty, complete freedom that this case is over with and they can get back to business. They're one of the few companies in crypto that's hiring, whereas the other companies are starting to lay people off or at least freeze their hiring. So that's the reason they would settle.
So, I mean, and quite honestly, just like he said a while ago, like as long as, Ripple, the company, gets what they need, obviously regulatory clarity for, them to move forward, why wouldn't they not settle? I mean, that's literally what this is truly all about. Like, yes, we as a community, learning about Theorem Free Pass, this ETHgate scandal that's been taking place, we want, justice for all these different things. But at the end of the day, Ripple is trying to go, they're trying to go public. They want to IPO. They want to make sure that as they move forward, there's no shackles, there's no, anything restraining them. They just want to have just the ability to do things the right way, like they've been trying to do for the past, 5+6 years, however long they've been trying to do it, and just move forward and flourish and scale their business utilizing XRP and cross-border payments, remittances, all those good things. So absolutely, and quite honestly, I'm not against it as long as we get the regulatory clarity we need and things are on the up and up for not just the XRP community, but just truly setting precedent with this case for the entire crypto industry. I'm all for it. Now I'm going to go to this end here where he's talking about toward the end here where he's talking about the length of the case, kind of how long it's going to be. So let's take a listen into this here, right here.
Because he can't seek advice for his legal opinion. And so, no, I don't think they're going to have a shot in hell in trying to recant that. Were there XRP holders at court? Just one that I spoke to as far as XRP holders. Let's see, how long can this case be delayed for? I think the case is set. Don't let the SEC's threat, if it comes out tonight where they're like, hey, Deaton's brief, we need more time. I said I'm not going to let that happen, all right? And there's a way to not let that happen. But sure, they're going to threaten it. I think the judge isn't going to move this case anymore for any reason. Discovery's closed. We're now in the briefing stage. There will be a brief, whether I'm involved or not. There's going to be a challenge to Patrick Duty by Ripple, and then there's going to be summary judgments. And the summary judgments are all briefing due by the end of December. Now, what that means is November. So what that means is it likely that she's going to, with Thanksgiving and Christmas, give a written decision on a case that she just got the briefs a few weeks before? No, it's never going to happen. I'll just be honest. You're not going to get a decision from Judge Torres by the end of this year. Might get a settlement, but you won't get a decision. The question is, will the decision come in January, February, or March? Right? And my guess would be somewhere in March, if it goes to a decision. I'm sorry, I know that's bad news for a lot of people, but that's the honest answer.
Straight up. And quite honestly, I've been, holding, accumulating since late 2017, early 2018, all the way up until this point. So to wait till March, it sucks, but it's not the end of the world. So I'm all for it. And actually, speaking of Patrick Duty, let me go to Johnny Deaton's here. He had put up a tweet talking about where's it at? Right here, he says the SEC just filed a motion to seal its opposition to the amicus brief of Patrick Doody. They are citing on the basis of witness safety. I sure hope no XRP holder has contacted or threatened Mr. Doody in any way. I'm speculating as to this basis, but I will tell you now that no one should contact any witness or any lawyer at all for any reasons. I'm not saying that this has happened, but the SEC filed the motion to seal for a reason. So I think this is kind of what's happening right here. So just be wary out there. Make sure we kind of, let the people that know what's going on, handle all this stuff, regardless of whatever frustration we have of what's going on. But I wanted to touch this tweet right here from Johnny Dean. It says the timestamp prediction for today. This was at 9:12 a.m. He said the SEC knows that the SEC knows the one thing XRP holders fear the most is delay. The SEC will try and cause fear and divide among XRP holders by arguing that if the judge allows amici to file a brief, the SEC needs more time to respond, even though they don't. The SEC might claim I'm trying to violate the court orders by presenting evidence, even though all I did was provide the parties with affidavits, not the court. The SEC may even argue that if Ripple attempts to use the affidavits, they must be allowed to reopen discovery. They might argue that they need to delay the case in order to dispose the 2K XRP holders who signed affidavits. The SEC is desperate for the judge to not learn the truth. Delay is the only tactic it has. It will be meant to divide XRP holders. Don't worry, I've anticipated it. And Tim's talking about they haven't shaken the real ones out yet, and that's the truth. They can't shake us out. Right here, Jeremy Hogan, Ripple versus SC court hearing. You don't need a law degree to know how the court hearing went, but it's even worse than it sounded. The SC took a big step backwards on key issues. Video tonight. So I'm excited to see what Jeremy Hogan in Legal Briefs pulls up in regards to their video tonight on kind of what's been going on. But that's just kind of an update. I want to thank Johnny Deaton, Jeremy Hogan, James K. Fallon, keeping us in the loop, keeping us up to date. Digital Asset Investor, Tag XRP, Stefan Huber, Moon Lambo, everybody that's involved with putting content out there and kind of updating the community. Kind of, it's almost like a reassurance, to have constant update on a daily basis on what's going on, because it's very easy to get weeded out of this market, especially when one of our favorite assets is undergoing an SEC lawsuit. So I want to thank everybody for fighting the good fight, coming together as a decentralized community and standing up for what's right. Come to Crypto is Key. You're obviously on this YouTube video. Make sure you subscribe, show some support. We're doing pretty well. I'm excited to grow this channel. Going to continue to bring great information, update you on kind of what's going on within the entire crypto industry. Obviously with the Ripple versus SC case and things that happen with XRP. Come over here to Crypto is Key 1 on Twitter and follow us so we can grow that account and you can kind of see the topics that I'm going to be discussing in our conversations. But with all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.